Okay, so next step, we've stripped the hair, and it's we have a little bit of fuzzies left, but that will be hidden when we put the next layer of hair on. I've washed it all off, got all the Nair goo stuff off, so now this baby is ready to actually strip the paint. This is what I use to strip the paint with. This is the only product that I have found that is effective completely at removing it without damaging the surface of the vinyl. Back in the olden days, I used to actually use acetone, and it made the kit shiny and it ate off the top layer of vinyl. So I don't use it anymore, and I admonish anybody to not use it if they can get away with it. So I find this at Michael's or Joann's. I think Hobby Lobby might carry it. Cotton cleaning pads. Get the paintbrushes or the pads rather wet with it. I'll also use this for like inside the creases. This is a teeny tiny crochet hook, but I would guess any teeny tiny pointy type thing will probably work just the same. I'm going to start at the back of the head. Just scrub a dub until you get as much off as you can. Paying attention to the creases. That's where this little tool comes in. You can get it into the creases better. The cleaner you make it, the cleaner the next layers or the remake goes on. So you want as much color off as you can. Some of this color in the hairline probably won't come off because it was rooted, and some of that color sunk down into the vinyl itself and into the pores. So I'll be able to get a lot off, but not all of it. Again, that will be hidden when we put the next to remake this baby. And I thought I was going to give this baby away, but I kind of think I'm going to just remake it and give it away as a drawing baby for people who like my channel. So you'll get to watch the whole process of having her stripped and started over. And all the way through to the other side of making this baby look cute again. So that one's pretty soiled, so we're going to set it aside and move on to number 2. This is a really long process. Getting this kit completely back to flesh color is going to take a lot of elbow grease. And this baby, I don't think was even sealed. And so if you have a kit that has been sealed with matte finish, it even is a lot more scrubbing. Again, pay attention to the inside of your creases. You don't want this stuff in there when it's come time to do the details. It just collects the paint funky and it doesn't look pretty. So you just try your best to get all of these little boogeries out as best you can while you're scrubbing. All right. Whoops. This is the Lexi kit, sculpted by, I think, Sandra White, maybe? Produced by Bountiful Baby. So she's part of a set of twins. I think it's Lexi and... maybe it's not. Maybe it's Lane and Leah. Maybe this is a discontinued kit. I actually don't know. It's an older kit. It says 2013. I'm not sure. I've seen her on Bountiful Baby for a long time, so I don't know if she's still there or not. Okay, so I'm going to compile some snippets of each of these pieces and parts and turn it into one big long video so that you don't have to suffer through hours of scrubbing and ear cleaning with my crochet hook. So stay tuned for the next piece and part. Okay, so now we're moving on to the limbs. The head is as good as I can get it for now. We'll come back and do another wipe later with fresh eyes, but we're moving on to the hands now. It's really important to get really good on the fingernails because you don't want all this paint muck still there. So do your best to get all that goobery snot out. No color, period. And across your knuckles is the same way. You don't want any color in the knuckles or the creases. I think my cat waits for me to turn on the camera and then he starts to cry. Teeny tiny crochet hooks are pretty magical when it comes to stripping and needing these little parts stripped. They just do a really good job of getting in the little tiny crevices. Okay. So again, I think I'm going to do this whole baby in the process, from stripping it all the way down and reborning it all the way back up, and then adding new hair on top of this rooted head, or previously rooted head, so you can see the whole process and see the difference in the makeover. And then I will give it away as a drawing baby when it's all done, and come up with some rules and figure out how to get to that point. But it's going to take a little bit to get her there. This is why I only do stripping babies and then starting over on them makeover wise if they are a valuable kit. If I can find another kit somewhere, if it's an open stock kit like this used to be, I would not bother to do this for it. I would just probably donate it to something and then start over with a fresh kit. It's just so much time, so many man hours to get, or woman hours, I guess, because that's what I am, to get it back down to a fresh blank kit. All right. It does take a bit of elbow grease. This is making my hands a little bit crampy. And likewise on the toes, the same with the fingernails. You want to make sure you get all the paint off the toenail bases. This cleaner stuff is pretty magical when it is used on this purpose. I've never actually bothered cleaning my paintbrushes. By the time they usually need cleaned, they usually need trashed and replaced. So I've never really bothered with that with it, but it works amazing when it comes to stripping a kit of all its paint and starting over. It works just as good on air dry as it does on Genesis heat set, or at least the few air dries that I've had the chance to try it with. I don't know how many air dry paints there are out there or different brands, but I've tried it on Genesis, and I think it was called Reborn Effects air dry. I can't remember the name, or Miracle Blend. I can't remember. It's been a while. And sometimes you get a baby and you don't know what it's painted with. It's just kind of slobbery, slimy goo. You just do your best to get it off. It does not seem to work as well with acrylic paints like the craft paints. So I strongly suggest you don't use craft paints to paint Reborn dolls. I imagine just soaking it would work with that because it is a water-based paint. So that would be what I would do, is soak it in water or hot water solution and see if that would help remove that kind of paint. I think this was Genesis heat set paint, so it's coming off like it was. Air dry comes off a little bit easier. It kind of just melts right off. And it turns into a sticky-ish type of a texture when it does come off. Okay, so I think I have 2 limbs done. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other 2 off camera, and then we'll wash this little one up and get her ready for the next step. Okay, so now we're going to be finished stripping everything off on all of this baby's arms and legs, and now we're going to wash off all of the cleaner stuff. Remove any oils that we can. Rinse out the insides of hers. She'll have to dry completely before I can work on her. She had this gritty sand inside of her that wasn't really glass. I think it was like a, well, maybe it was just like a really fine powdery glass, but it was more of a salt texture. It was really strange, powdery, sticky stuff. I'm not sure what this purple stuff is. I'm guessing it has, I actually don't know. Whoever made it maybe had something purple that it set against. I'm not really sure. She has a magnet in her head. Make sure we get all that out. Okay, this baby's good to go.